Good evening, everyone. This is Eric Funches, Executive Director for Physicians Working Together, better known as PWT. We are so grateful to have Mr. Isaiah Brown, soon to be Dr. Isaiah Brown, with us this evening. And we're going to hear from him as he is the recipient of the PWT Award. So, Mr. Isaiah, how are you today?
I'm good, Eric. It's good to see you.
Same here, same here. So, how did you hear? Let's start there first. How did you hear about the PWT award?
Actually, it's kind of funny. It was in a group. Somebody just added it to the group me. There's like this like nationwide Black medical student group me like that we use sometimes just like for resources. And somebody put the scholarship in there. I looked at it. I was like, oh, okay, talent. And it's like I have some talent, so I just applied to it, and here we are.
So, tell us about your talent that you submitted. It's
Uh,
quite unique.
Yeah, so I roller skate. I guess rhythm skating, jam skating, is a specific style, but picked it up in DC, where they snap, which is a specific style that they have. But I actually took up roller skating. I really wasn't good at it as a kid, or even when I was 20 years old, I wasn't good at it. But during the pandemic, actually, I ended up picking it up just to have a hobby, be active, be outside. I love music, I love Black culture, and all those things are included within roller skating. So, just wanted something to challenge myself, and ended up really loving it. So,
Excellent, excellent. Well, I think it's pretty cool that you're doing the skating thing and able to kind of connect with community as well as with that youthfulness that we all strive to stay connected with as we get older. So, speaking of youthfulness, tell us a little bit as a shout out about your upbringing as far as your parents, their influence, the schools that you've gone to, including public school and now pre-med and medical school.
yeah, I think education is something that's always been important to my family, always been stressed. My I went to school in Augusta, Georgia. I went to Augusta Christian in Martinez, which is a part of Augusta. Just a small high school where I really didn't. I always kind of knew I wanted to be a doctor, but I think that some of the teachers there just like kind of really pushed me, and some of the classes that they taught just I think pushed me in ways that I don't think I would be here otherwise if I didn't have that early on. One person in particular is Miss White, who's my AP Calc and Pre-Calc teacher, and just some of the conversations we had about, just growing up, pursuing what you want to do, working hard, putting in the work. Um, I think I still like have those lessons, and it kind of keeps me going today. Also, just like football coaches and track coaches, like Coach Walton and Coach Cooper, and then again, just like my family, my parents have always just had high expectations, and I think that like me wanting to meet those like was it just I rose to the challenge, and so
Yeah.
and then after Augusta, ended up going to University of Kentucky for undergrad, where I studied neuroscience. And again, kind of the same thing. I think peer mentorship is really important in Kentucky. It was less like, people way older than me, but more some professors for sure. But definitely like on the pre-med track, met a lot of classmates and a lot of peers who knew about things that I didn't know about. Not having a lot of doctors in the family, I think there's like a hidden curriculum to getting to med school and things that you have to think about and consider and research and scholarships and all types of stuff to apply to. So but a couple people that like stick out are like my friend Will Jackson, who also went to medical school, Jamal McDaniel, who was the basically leader, executive director of the MLK Center. So just like did a lot of good work with him and just establishing community at a PWI, and I think like all those things kind of helped get me to where I am now, which is at the University of Chicago. And then I had a brief stint at the NIH where I met, again, just more peers who were doing some of the same things, Josh Dawson and G-Day and Gona, just some of my friends that who are also in med school now. We have like a community and kind of keep in touch and hold each other accountable in that type of way. So it's definitely been a journey.
That is beautiful. That's quite profound that you made those connections and that you found power through those connections. And I like the fact that you brought out the connections of peers. that it wasn't just those who are older that were your mentors, so to speak, or in great influencers, but also you found that connection with others who are like-minded. What was one of the things that influenced, was your first inkling or influence towards you going into medicine?
I think my grandma is a nurse, and I think
Mm,
that, and my mom's also a nurse now too. And so I think I just kind of had that inkling from an early age of just I just randomly said one day, I want to be a doctor. My parents were like, okay, go do it. Like, it was encouraged amongst my parents. But also I think I wasn't able to articulate as a kid, but now like looking back as I'm writing personal statements and all types of stuff, there's a lot of disease,
mm,
disinvestment in certain areas of Augusta that, I just saw, and I saw my family members dealing with, my mom and my grandmother, and my stepfather has type 2 diabetes, and like you see your family struggling with all these things, and also had epilepsy as a child. And so just got into medicine. When I would watch TV shows, it would, is there a doctor in the room? Like I always wanted to be that person to try to,
mm.
step up, be a leader, and help people heal, take care of themselves. And um, I think as I started to pursue it more, I started to see the opportunities open up. And so it just kind of beginner's luck in a way. But like the opportunity just kept coming like serendipitously, and I was surrounded by a community of people doing it, and it just felt more achievable as I progressed in the whole process. So it's kind of felt like it was what I'm supposed to be doing. So
Well, I know that your parents are really proud and so glad that you pursued that path. And you're what year now? You're almost done, right?
done. I'm a third year medical student. Yep, almost done.
Excellent,
Working my way
excellent.
through rotations.
So, what does it mean to you to be this year's PWT Physicians Working Together Scholarship Award recipient?
And in me, I think it's a great honor. I started roller skating as a way to be well. And especially during this process of med school where, your head is in the books, like you have to kind of, sacrifice a lot of free time and a lot of, I wouldn't say sacrifice wellness, but, depending on the culture of where you are and the culture of medicine, like people work very hard. Um, and I think that celebrating like our humanity in a way is it feels good to be celebrated for something that's outside my day to day, like go to school, go to work,
Mm.
um, and so like just celebrating like being well and celebrating this hobby, like being recognized for a hobby that I initially like wasn't great at, but somebody else is recognizing that talent. It feels good. So
Yeah. One of the things, Dr. Jackson, of course, as you know, she's the founder of PWT. One of the things that is so important for her and is a part of her mission, the reason why she did found PWT was to create a sense of community among physicians, to create a sense that there's a place that physicians can go, that they can be able to connect, they can be able to talk, and then to give back. One of the stories that she shares that pushed her to this point was the suicide of one of her dear friends who was a physician. And it brought to bear the fact that many people don't think of physicians as real people. They just think of them as a career path. So I love the fact that you brought out your specific humanity in, as you said, this outlet for being well in skating and showing that particular gift because it shows that fun side of doctors. And we've seen, several different things from our recipients in the past. So when we look at PWT and its future, I'm always wondering, and I and Dr. Jackson and others with the team are wondering about how we can connect better in the future, how we can help better. What is a way that you would see yourself working with PWT and would encourage former recipients of the scholarship as well as future recipients of the scholarship to work together with PWT to make a difference in the medical community?
yeah, I think first and foremost, I mean, we kind of talked about it already, just like the peer mentorship.
Yes.
Um,
Hmm.
that's something that I've done as a medical student, I've done as a college student, even as a high school student, just like looking back and giving back to those who are younger and don't have the same experiences or knowledge. And I think that trying to get to med school can be an isolating process, especially when you don't know any doctors. And then trying to get through med school is also, it's like once you get there and then once you get the residency, like you'll always be learning and going through new things. And so I think Something that, I could do and that past winners could do is just what we're doing now. But just having like a larger conversation, Zoom meetings, webinars, Zoom series, just talking about, different topics of like whether it be the MCAT or be the med school or applying for scholarships, you know, uh, thinking about your finances as you go to med school, and taking on either loans or even the opportunity cost of going to medical school and not working and stuff like that, like having those real conversations. I do a little bit of that work now with like high school kids in Chicago. Just I work for a program called MedKeep and H Prep, where you basically just bring kids in, expose them to medicine, answer questions about college, and you know this is what it's like on this level, like just so they can see it. And I think that representation is super important. And so for throwing you know having those meetings for people who might not have that social capital of knowing doctors, knowing having somebody to talk to about this type of stuff, I think is something really low hanging fruit that we could get done. So.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, when you talked before about the peer mentorship and the community that built for you, and having those that were going through the same things that you were going through, and you all sharing your ideas, I think that that's going to be very apropos for future development of the medical community. One of the things now with the technology moving in the way that it is with AI and so many advancements, how do you see the medical community keeping up?
Ooh, that's a great question. I think that a lot of times medicine can be very consuming, all consuming.
Mhm.
But I think that we're entering this era where a lot more doctors are, getting other degrees and finding their niche and expertise in different areas, even outside of medicine. And so I think that's kind of the path forward of like that you will have these thought leaders and people like change makers, MD MPHs, MD PhDs, MD MBAs, like MHA, whatever it is, like, in these different spaces, learning about things such as AI and having like different backgrounds, um, who will kind of disseminate that information throughout the community is, I guess, my hope. But
Right,
also, most attendings, most doc, again, it's lifelong learning. And so
right.
the field changes every year. You have to kind of stay on top of reading. And I think that um, a lot of, I think that physicians will be motivated enough, especially as it starts to impact your career in real, like the day to day in real life. Just to,
Mm.
educate themselves, read, PubMed, up to date, whatever it is that they, but I think that there will definitely be that couple people who are like leading that charge.
Yeah. And I like what you say concerning really being a multifaceted physician, not because in a former conversation you and I were talking, you mentioned about also getting an MBA.
Mhm.
And so I love that you're bringing to bear that physicians, people in general, as lifelong learners, can be more than just one thing. They can be accomplished at more than just one thing, thus being greater influencers in society.
Mhm.
The mantra for physicians working together is we're physicians working together because together we're best. And so I believe that that also leans into when we find our places to be the best at what we can do and be, we help each other even more and thus help the world be a better place.
Mhm.
Is there anything that you would like to add um, as a response to, or maybe a word to veteran physicians that they might be more engaged with those at your level that
Yeah,
would help you along?
I think some of the most impactful experiences I've had with senior attendings or senior faculty has been when they have just like broken down and being human with me about their experiences. I feel like a lot of times, especially in academic settings, we can get kind of lost in the professionalism or the work ethic, like the ethics surrounding work. And it sometimes can feel robotic, but I think that just taking a second and like realizing like um we're all doing we've all been at this stage as medical
Yeah.
students. And then as an attending, you've definitely been a medical student before and a resident. And as we're seeing new things, I feel like having those real conversations with us about like, how do you take care of your family? How do you stay well? How do you deal with the stress? How do you deal with the things that are happening at work? How do you organize these things? And like just being human from a perspective of like, you didn't start here.
Right,
Had to work to get here, and I'm trying to mimic what you're doing. And so sharing that process with us, I think it would be um, just in general and just like as humans, like, I think that those have been some of the like most impactful moments. Like people who you never know struggle with certain things, just because they're so smart, so accomplished. Life seems like it's together. But like, when they share, oh, I went through this happened to me. Like, and it's like, okay, wow, like I don't have to be perfect all the time. It's like, it's just like I gotta control what I can control.
right,
Um, yeah, so I feel like that's probably the most impactful thing.
great. Well, Isaiah, I certainly appreciate you taking this time to speak with us and to share so intently from and passionately from your heart what your goals are and the things that you've experienced and how those things have shaped where you are and impacted where you're going. So, again, congratulations to you on being the recipient of the PWT Scholarship Award. And we look to hear great things about you in the future, as well as getting you on our panels as we do more reaching out and more peer mentorship, as well as mentorship in general. Thanks for all that you're doing, especially that you're doing with the young people. That is extraordinary work. And I'll be sharing more with Dr. Jackson about our conversation. So thank all of you for joining us today in this episode. And we say to you that our physicians, again, physicians working together, when you work together, you are best. And to everyone else who's not a physician, let's learn to work together, period. Because indeed, when all of us work together, we are our best. Y'all take care. Thank you, Isaiah.
Thank you.